The constant search for wisdom is the journey in our lives. Some things are like seeds, we plant them in silence, far from the gaze of the curious, hoping they will grow and blossom. Here lies the wisdom of the Stoics. They teach us to nurture and cultivate within ourselves without the rush to show the world. The Stoics, significant thinkers in history, understood that not everything needs to be shared. They cherished their secrets, achievements, and learnings because they recognized that displaying too much could lose the true essence of things. For them, every joy and sorrow, each lesson and challenge, are parts of the history we create. Sharing everything without thought might prevent us from living deeply. They believed that just as a flower doesn't grow from being touched constantly, our evolution too requires privacy, a space solely for us where we can reflect on our errors and victories and decide on our future path. Thus, when the Stoics opted to keep certain things to themselves, it wasn't about hiding but protecting. For them, genuine growth involves finding the balance between what we reveal and what we keep to ourselves. In a world keen on exposing everything, the Stoics teach us the value of what remains unseen. Often, it is in silence that we discover what truly matters. Explore the 11 subjects the Stoics preferred to keep quiet, and we recommend you do the same. Stay with us until the end and find out why. Do not speak of your achievements. Imagine diving into the dark, deep waters of your own soul. For the Stoics, the quest for wisdom and virtue was akin to this profound journey. They argued that true accomplishment was not found in a showcase of external triumphs but in introspection and continuous evolution. Every challenge, every battle, was fought not in public arenas but in the silent landscapes of the spirit. But why such marked discretion when discussing victories? They offered us a deep reflection. Ego and vanity, when nurtured, can become barriers that stand between us and true virtue. The obsession with external recognition, they said, shackles us in chains of pride, binding us to a vain quest for fleeting applause, a path fraught with disappointment. However, herein lies a precious lesson from the Stoics. True achievement was not that which stopped to be admired but that which silently transformed the community, cultivating noble values such as justice, compassion, and wisdom. Wealth to them was not amassed in vaults but in the depths of a balanced and serene soul. Instead of celebrating triumphs or wilting in defeat, they adopted a calm acceptance of all life's whims. They invited us to recognize that the dance of existence is orchestrated by melodies often beyond our control. In this remarkable stance, we observe a deliberate choice, a commitment to genuine greatness. They argued that true majesty lay in living with integrity, dedicating oneself to the collective. They left us with a legacy that humility, sincerity, and the relentless pursuit of wisdom are the true pillars of a life truly worth living. 1. Do not speak of your achievements. Imagine diving into the dark, deep waters of your own soul. For the Stoics, the quest for wisdom and virtue was akin to this profound journey. They argued that true accomplishment was not found in a showcase of external triumphs but in introspection and continuous evolution. Every challenge, every battle, was fought not in public arenas but in the silent landscapes of the spirit. But why such marked discretion when discussing victories? They offered us a deep reflection. Ego and vanity, when nurtured, can become barriers that stand between us and true virtue. The obsession with external recognition, they said, shackles us in chains of pride, binding us to a vain quest for fleeting applause, a path fraught with disappointment. However, herein lies a precious lesson from the Stoics. True achievement was not that which stopped to be admired but that which silently transformed the community, cultivating noble values such as justice, compassion, and wisdom. Wealth to them was not amassed in vaults but in the depths of a balanced and serene soul. Instead of celebrating triumphs or wilting in defeat, they adopted a calm acceptance of all life's whims. They invited us to recognize that the dance of existence is orchestrated by melodies often beyond our control. In this remarkable stance, we observe a deliberate choice, a commitment to genuine greatness. They argued that true majesty lay in living with integrity, dedicating oneself to the collective. They left us with a legacy that humility, sincerity, and the relentless pursuit of wisdom are the true pillars of a life truly worth living. 2. Do not speak of unconquered challenges. On the historical path of wisdom and virtue, each step was laden with meaning. The detours and stones along the way were not mere obstacles, they sculpted the soul, shaped character, and taught about the true nature of greatness. It wasn't the visible triumph that mattered, but rather the often invisible internal battles that determined a person's inner strength. But if these struggles hold so much value, why did the Stoics advise against discussing unconquered challenges? The answer lies in their profound understanding of human nature. They believed that ego and pride could cloud our vision, making us blind to true virtue. The incessant quest for external recognition and praise could, in fact, be a veil hiding our true potential. The Stoics did not value achievements that could simply be displayed as trophies. They sought the true glory that advanced humanity, rooted in values like justice, generosity, and, of course, wisdom. Real wealth to them was not in the luster of gold but in the glow of a morally upright character and the tranquility of the soul. The philosophy of amor fati, the love for one's fate, was fundamental to this understanding. The Stoics did not despair in the face of adversity, instead, they accepted with balance both the taste of victory and defeat, aware that the tapestry of life is woven with threads of circumstances often beyond our control. 3. Do not speak of your good deeds. Imagine a candle silently illuminating a dark room. Its glow is gentle, not imposing, but it warms and lights up everything around it. For the Stoics, kindness was very much like this flame. They argued that true generosity does not need to be proclaimed in public squares or shouted from the rooftops. It should, in its essence, be a genuine and subtle gesture performed simply for the sake of doing good without expecting praise in return. Why this perspective, which may seem so alien to today's culture of self-promotion, holds a profound reason. The Stoics recognized the danger of turning kindness into a spectacle. If we boast about every altruistic act, are we truly being altruistic, or are we inadvertently seeking the fleeting warmth of applause? There's something more in this philosophy that invites introspection. Keeping our good deeds under the veil of anonymity offers us sacred moments of reflection, a pause, a moment of intimate connection with ourselves, where we can question whether our actions were genuine or motivated by other interests. This secret self-analysis becomes a catalyst for personal improvement. At the heart of historical philosophy lay the belief that true goodness does not seek the spotlight. It manifests in silent and authentic acts of compassion. This timeless wisdom envelopes us with its essence and reminds us of a fundamental truth: often, the greatest act of kindness is the one simply offered without expecting anything in return. 4. Do not speak of your resentments. Have you ever felt trapped in a web of emotions where each thread is a bitter memory, a grievance that refuses to fade away? The Stoics, with their timeless wisdom, invite us to deep reflection on the invisible weight of resentment. For these ancient philosophers, resentment was an anchor preventing the spirit from sailing freely through the seas of life. But what if we could choose another, less trodden path where forgiveness and understanding were our faithful companions? Behind this historical perspective lies an unwavering focus on virtue and self-control. Ask yourself, have you ever carried a weight on your back for too long, felt the fatigue, the exhaustion? In the historical view, this burden is an invisible chain that binds us, limiting our freedom and inner peace. Isn't it fascinating to realize that resentment often sprouts from misunderstanding? Instead of imprisoning ourselves in a circle of bitterness, the Stoics encouraged us to seek the origin of others' actions, to understand before judging. Forgiveness, then, is not just an altruistic gesture but an act of profound wisdom that unveils the mysteries of the human soul and frees us from the chains of negativity. However, the Stoics warn us, anger and resentment are silent poisons. They are flames that, when fed, consume our tranquility and well-being. On the other hand, by choosing the path of forgiveness and understanding, we find an oasis of serenity and peace. Thus, cradled by Stoic wisdom, we are reminded of a universal truth: forgiveness is the key to our own freedom. It is a beacon that guides us through emotional storms and offers refuge in the harbor of serenity. And by embracing this lesson, we discover that sometimes the greatest strength lies in letting go, in freeing ourselves from the chains of the past and sailing towards a horizon of understanding and peace. 5. Do not speak of your deepest dreams. Imagine for a moment a rare and delicate seed in the palm of your hands. It represents your most intimate dreams, your most fervent aspirations. How would you protect it from harsh winds and storms that might prevent it from germinating? The Stoics, with their profound wisdom, offer us an answer. They viewed our goals and dreams as these precious seeds meant to be planted in the fertile depths of our souls, far from the storms of others' opinions and criticism. After all, who has never felt the flame of a dream extinguished upon being prematurely exposed to the cold of skepticism or the heat of scorn? Within historical knowledge, self-sufficiency is celebrated as a gem of inestimable value. True wisdom, true achievement, is not a trophy to be displayed but an internal well from which one can always drink. Why seek the ephemeral approval of others when we can find wealth and purpose in the conquests of our own minds? Perhaps the most silent and at the same time most eloquent of virtues, the Stoics recognize the fine line that separates healthy ambition from arrogance. Opting for silence about our grandiose goals was not an act of shyness but a deliberate choice to walk with humility, avoiding the pride that sometimes blinds. In the end, the historical legacy speaks to our hearts. It is not necessary to shout our dreams from the mountaintops. Instead, protect them, nurture them, and watch them flourish in their silent and majestic glory. This safeguard is an invitation to discover the strength that resides within us and to recognize that sometimes the most precious treasures are those we keep only for ourselves. 6. Do not speak of your next steps. Imagine a chess master moving his pieces in silence while his opponents try to decipher his next moves. This is the way of the Stoics. They understood that by revealing each move in their lives, they could be subject to the whimsical winds of external judgment, often laden with criticism, envy, and even malicious intentions. At the heart of historical philosophy lies the virtue of self-sufficiency. Why depend on the fleeting applause of an audience when true strength resides in the internal theater of the mind? By keeping their life strategies secret, the Stoics were not merely hiding their plans but strengthening their core of confidence, independent of the tides of opinion that flow around. And so, we come to humility, a subtle yet profound quality that the Stoics fervently defended. Revealing grand strategies could easily be interpreted as a shout of arrogance, a triumphant announcement of superiority. By opting for discretion, they chose a path that balanced ambition with humility, ensuring that their steps were firm but not presumptuous. Thus, the historical tradition gifts us with a rich perspective on the value of secrecy. It teaches us that protecting our objectives is more than a simple strategy. It is a way to strengthen our being, to honor our self-sufficiency, and to walk with humility in a world where external validation seems to be the prevailing currency. The Stoics invite us to look inward, find our internal compass, and tread our path with confidence and wisdom. 7. Do not speak of your doubts and uncertainties. Imagine yourself in a vast forest where each tree represents a doubt and every shadow an uncertainty. Instead of proclaiming your hesitation to all the winds, you opt for silent introspection, seeking answers within your own soul. This is the path of the Stoics. At the core of historical philosophy, it's recognized that confidence is not a flag to be waved in front of the world's eyes but an internal beacon guiding our path. Constantly revealing our doubts to the world is like exposing a lantern to torrential rain. It may be extinguished. In silence, we find the solidity needed not to be swayed by the opinions and judgments of others. Modesty, in turn, is not simply an external virtue but a shield that protects the spirit. The Stoics realized that bearing all uncertainties could strip the soul of its dignity. There was strength in restraint, a robustness in choosing when and with whom to share vulnerabilities. While many sought answers in the clamor of the outside world, the Stoics understood the importance of silence and introspection. They believed that often the answers to the deepest doubts echoed in the silent chambers of the heart and mind. By harboring certain uncertainties, they cultivated deeper reflection and a more intimate connection with their essence. In short, historical wisdom offers us precious advice, amid the storms of doubt, it is not necessary to shout our uncertainties to the world. By embracing silence, modesty, and introspection, we find a safe route through the forest of uncertainties, illuminated by the internal beacon of our own confidence and understanding. This is the power of silent self-reflection and internal confidence that the Stoics have bequeathed to us. 8. Do not speak of others. In their quest for inner growth, the Stoics realized something fundamental: criticizing others is like throwing stones into a calm lake, creating ripples that disturb the water's serenity. They understood that engaging in judgments and criticisms was to divert their gaze from their own internal mirror, wasting precious energy on matters outside their sphere of influence. Instead of pointing fingers, the Stoics chose to extend a hand. They were guided by empathy and compassion, recognizing that each person is a universe filled with internal and external battles, joys and sorrows, victories and defeats. To criticize another person was to fail in recognizing the richness of the complexity of the human condition. They also realized that criticism, instead of building bridges, often erected walls. In their search for tranquility and harmony, they understood that harsh words and hasty judgments did not lead to peace but to discord and estrangement. Historical wisdom sends us a clear, eternal message: we must be guardians of our words and thoughts. Instead of focusing on the flaws of others, let us turn our gaze to our own reflection, seeking growth and virtue. In a world where criticism is easily wielded, Stoic teachings inspire us to embrace understanding, acceptance, and kindness, casting stones of empathy into the lake of humanity and appreciating the waves of positivity they generate. 9. Do not speak of your moments of solitude. While many seek to fill every second with stimuli and interactions, the Stoics found strength in quietness. They did not see solitude as a vacuum to be filled but as a sanctuary where the mind could freely dance without the restraints of others' opinions. Contrary to what many might think, the Stoics did not hide from solitude, they embraced it. In their moments of retreat, they did not feel isolated but connected to a rich inner universe full of insights. It was in this quietude that the deepest thoughts emerged, unclouded by external noise. In the current scenario, where validation through social media has become almost a currency, the historical philosophy invites us to reassess our priorities. Do we really need constant applause for our most intimate reflections, or can we find value and meaning in solitude, away from the gaze and judgment of others? By stepping back from the constant need for exposure, following the footsteps of the Stoics, we find a space where our soul can breathe. And it is in this profound silence that we discover the melody of our essence, a sound that does not need to be shared but merely felt in its purity and truth. 10. Do not speak of unlearned lessons. Few things are as universal as error. We all fail, we all make mistakes. But it is in the response to these failures that a person's character is truly revealed. For the Stoics, these moments were not of despair but of revelation and growth. Many of us in contemporary society feel the pressure to project an image of perfection. We display our triumphs and hide our defeats, but the Stoics present a different approach, embracing error not as a sign of weakness but as a roadmap for significant development. By choosing to keep their unlearned lessons private, the Stoics were not attempting to flee from their responsibilities or hide from their failures. Instead, they reserved themselves for a deep and intimate process of reflection. Each failure was seen not as an end but as a beginning, a new chapter in the continuous quest for virtue and wisdom. Just as an artist turns a mistake into a crucial part of their work, the Stoics transformed their failures into foundations for growth. In a world where excessive sharing and overexposure are common, the historical stance reminds us of the value of introspection and the dignity of silence. 11. Do not speak of your deepest plans. The understanding that it was not necessary to shout your plans to the world was for them a powerful weapon. They comprehended something many of us forget, that discretion is not a weakness but a strength. For the Stoics, each plan or goal was like a delicate seed that needed to be nurtured with care and protection. By avoiding prematurely exposing these plans, they ensured that they had the ideal environment to grow and flourish, away from the storms of doubt, envy, or public scrutiny. Today, in an era of overexposure where every move is documented and shared, the historical philosophy invites us to rethink the way we handle our ambitions. It shows us that true power often resides in what is kept secret, not because we are evasive but because we recognize the importance of nurturing our dreams in a safe environment. Silence, for the Stoics, was not empty, it was filled with potential, possibilities, and hope. It was the fertile ground where their dreams could grow undisturbed. So, amid the chaos of our modern era, perhaps we can find inspiration in the wise Stoics. By protecting our deepest plans, we allow them to develop at their own pace, free from interference. And by doing so, we may discover that the true magic lies not in what we declare to the world but in what we silently achieve in the recesses of our determination. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to the channel, like, comment, and share it with someone who needs to see this video. Your support is crucial for us to continue sharing knowledge and inspiration with everyone. If you have a content suggestion you'd like to see in the upcoming videos, please leave it in the comments. We value your opinion, and it guides us in our mission to bring ever richer and more impactful content to you.